It's the Yellow Kid, TYK, you know what I'm talking about. Back at it. I wanted to do a quick video on some music theory concepts. Just note, like, I don't have no degree, or I know I'm not the best. I'm just passing down what I do know that could benefit someone else. So yeah, so let's go from there. So yeah, we're in Ableton. Honestly, I have never known how to be able to do this in any other program. Like, I started off with Fruity Loops, and I started using Reason. Then I got into Cubase. I was rewiring. I was still doing most of my stuff in Reason, but I was rewiring Reason um through Cubase. And then I started using Ableton, and I was rewiring with Reason and Ableton. And then I got to the point where I didn't really need to depend on another program. Now I mainly do all my stuff in Ableton. But everybody's different. But let's go, let's get it popping. So here I got a piano. I'm assuming you have a MIDI keyboard or something of that sort. If not, you probably may not be able to soak this in as much. You don't have to figure out which keys are which on the keyboard. Which in this case, so A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K. That's on your regular keyboard. That's what we're working with. That's the C major scale. Okay, now let's get back to the regular piano MIDI keyboard. Okay, so that's C. Now typically your keyboard tell you the notes, like it'll tell you the middle note C3. That's C3. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay, now this thing's really gonna take your beats to the next level, because you're gonna be able to make sure all the notes and everything you're playing and every different plugin or sound you use are all locked into the same key scale. So if you've just been hitting notes and like hitting black notes too, I mean, sometimes it'll sound good, but typically you're not in a locked key signature. So it's like, and also too, when you understand this, you could work with musicians. You could be like, okay, you could record something in G sharp, minor or major, or whatever the case may be, and send me that. Then you could collaborate with people on another level. Have a guitar player send you some riffs in F major or F minor. It's just you could just be able to collaborate a little easier with other musicians, just having this basic knowledge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So starting on C3, there's 7 notes. These 7 notes are what make up the C major scale. So that's C major. Now that's the scale. Now if you're working with any of these notes, you can always make it sound good. So what we're trying to do is be able to just play these notes here, but on different scales. This is a C major. This is a C minor. C major, C minor. Okay, so we got that down. So this is what you gotta get locked in your mind. Go to MIDI effects. Okay, we're using a scale. Okay, we're gonna go to C minor. Okay, and minor is usually the more sad, kind of serious stuff. Major is usually more uppity stuff. It just depends on your mood. Typically, I'll make stuff in minor, cause it's how I be. From what I understand, that's usually what you use, and I kind of like it more. So this is gonna give us the C minor scale when we play it. Just all the white notes from C to B. Now if we turn this off and play the same notes, we hear C major. If we click this, we hear C minor. You hear that? here major, major. That's the. So this right here is gonna lock us in the C minor scale. Okay. Now what you need to understand is, for all these notes we're hitting, they all have their own scale also. There's a bunch of different scales, but I'm specifically referring to major and minor scales in this tutorial. So for example, let's turn this off. Like F has its own scale, and it's going to be the same, number of semitones that C has between all the different notes that you play on it when you're playing all the white ones. If you don't know what a semitone is the next note directly away from the one you're playing. So you play C, and then you hit the black note, that's one semitone away. D is another semitone away from that, but it's two from C. So C, hit the black note, that's one semitone. The next note is going to be two semitones from C. The next one's going to be three semitones from C. Okay. Next one's four semitones from C, which is E. Okay. So this is something you really got to understand. From C to E is four semitones. C is always going to be 0. So you count every note, including the blacks. So you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. E's on 4. So now let's say we want to use an E minor scale. Okay. I'm gonna just open another one of these so I could keep that. See. So we got the C minor scale popping off. Now all you gotta do is change the bass note. You say we want to go to E. Okay. Now when I hit E, that's the first note showing here, letting me know that that's what the scale I'm in. So like I said, I just hit. We're gonna hit these white notes. Now this is a problem you're gonna run in sometimes when you're just using the scale. Sometimes you're gonna hear notes repeating because, like I said, all a key scale is just the semitones between the notes that are making that tone. Okay, and it's getting that original set of values from the minor scale. From the major or the minor scale, whichever one you're using. So so sometimes some scales you may choose and they may have like notes that repeat. Like these are repeating. Now this is where the magic really happens. If you go to MIDI effects, now we're going to select pitch. Okay, and you gotta make sure your pitch is in front of the Make sure your pitch is in front of the scale. Now the pitch is just telling us where the first note on C, what note that is. Now take note of this. You see this here? I'm hitting C. Remember, we're in E minor now. We're in the E minor chord scale. I'm hitting C, and C is triggering up here. That's where C falls in the E minor chord scale. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit E. That's taking me to the bottom. That's the beginning of this chord scale. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to make the chord scale. I'm trying to make this scale just all the white notes the same as the C major. So I want C to be the beginning of it. Cause if you do this, you could just memorize the C major. Just the C major scale, and you could play any minor scale on it or major or whatever. It's just so you can just start getting your melodies right. When it comes to chord progressions and stuff, this doesn't really so much help because chords usually switch their key signatures a lot. So like we said earlier, E is 4 semitones away from C. So C, C sharp, D sharp, E. 0, C, 1, 2, 3. There we go. We got E. Okay, so we got 4. So that's what we gotta do here. Click that. We're gonna put 4. You can move it or however you want. So now what this is gonna do, since I selected 4, because now we chose the key of E minor. When I hit C, it's gonna actually trigger the pitch of E. And now as you can see, it's the first one that's being triggered. Now when I hit E, it's up here. Okay, so now I can just play all the white notes from C to B in that specific order, and it's gonna give me a E minor scale. So now if I turn these off and play the exact same scale I just did, it's gonna sound like this. Let's turn them on. Now that's what a scale is, and this is really the backbone of music. So typically what I do is I start laying a beat down. You know, sometimes I just may record something and I'll figure out what scale it is. You know, but I always keep in mind though that I gotta be using a certain scale. But typically I prefer to just, you know, like let's see, let's do something. Like, you know, let's find some loops real quick. So my loop is 98, so I'm changing that to 98. Now I'm just gonna find a sound I can work with. Actually, I gotta make sure I have this on loop. I don't think it is. Let me see. Okay. Let's find a sound real quick. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't usually work with loops anyway, so I look like a fucking noob right now.